Hi, welcome to my Friday video. I'm Dr. Monica, and today we're going to talk about veggie burgers. So I did a little research, and basically I found a lot of stuff on the market. You've probably noticed them in your food store because they're all in the major chain stores right now. So what's the difference? What are they? What's out there? What I did was I broke them down into two categories to make a little bit of a discussion here, and that is the plant-based burgers and the veggie burgers. So what's the difference? Well, the plant-based burgers are the new things that I said that are out there, and they are, boy, perhaps the best known is Beyond Beef, made a big splash in the market about a couple of years ago. And what is the deal with that? Well, they have less of the true whole food types of vegetables in their makeup. What they have more of is plant starch with methylcellulose and cellulose, which is a plant fiber. Um, and then they have, I noticed across the board, canola oil in most all of these products. So between the plant starch, the fibers, and the oil, I guess it makes up to be a pretty nice alternative burger. So that's really the short and the long of that, as well as another key feature there is that it's very high in protein. A burger, a beef burger, 4 ounces, 19 grams of protein, and this at 4 ounces is 20 grams of protein. So the protein's up there. You do gain a few points in carbohydrates, though I don't think it's that bad. And that's approximately for a 4 ounce is 5 grams of carbohydrates. Okay, so that's what we're calling a plant-based burger. So now the veggie burger is like it would sound. It has more whole food in it, more whole vegetable, corn, carrots, greens, those are mixed in. Another thing, as you would well imagine, a little higher in carbohydrates, and yeah, you lose a few points in the protein. Bean burgers we're going to stick in there, as well as tofu burgers, and then that's kind of the short and the long of it. And from there, you know, as well as that said, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the ins and the outs. What do you want to do? Well, to pick which is better for me, like that would be the next question of a lot of people. You got to flip over those labels and you got to look at them and figure out and know beforehand. Like I say, be prepared and understand how much protein do you want in that meal, how much carbohydrate. The thing that's really good about this and why I'm kind of reporting on them is that they have a good amount of protein. Different ones, the makeup really fits into a metabolic positive lifestyle, and they taste good. People like them, so they're a fair go, and it's a good topic. Um, Read the labels. If you want a higher protein one, it would be the plant-based. Lower protein, maybe the vegetable-based. So you have to know ahead of time what you want and what's going to suffice your daily regime for your intake. And you're going to manage your carb. You should be managing your macros. And most notably, we always have to manage our carbohydrates and our protein. So you kind of go from there. And then obviously, you'd also have to look and see if there's any food sensitivity issues. I said to you that canola oil was in pretty much across the board in so many of these. I mean, it was about, whether it be the plant-based or the vegetable-based, it was over 85%. So it's there. I don't think that's a sensitivity issue as much as just something that's not really a great healthful oil. But what I did see is that you got to watch for gluten and dairy. So if it says gluten-free, if you're gluten sensitive, that's the one you want. There are just too many products out there that stated gluten-free. Stick to that. And when you go for the vegetable burgers, if it doesn't say dairy-free, be careful, read the ingredients. But again, it says a lot of them, most all of them had allergens, and it would state the allergens it had, whether it be soy, whether it be corn, whether it be dairy. So that's my other tip on looking for these things. We're getting savvy. We can look at our macronutrients and we can look at what the makeup is and stay away from our gluten and our dairy, whatever the case may be. So a little bit more about the plant-based burgers. They're ready to eat. That's a beautiful thing. It makes it so that the food's available and in a very short time, okay? You could serve it as a meal. It's high in protein, as we said, and it tastes good. And if I didn't give it enough kudos, those things, the reason they made such a huge splash on the market, boy, you put them on the grill, they sizzle, they smell good. It really provides the hamburger experience. You bite into it, and like I said before, the combination of whatever is in it, all that plant stuff, really provides a rival to the protein fiber and what tastes like chopped meat. So it's pretty amazing. So go for it. If you haven't had one, try it. They're really good. Another thing about them, as I keep going, you'll pick up even in those plant-based burgers, 5 to 15 carbohydrates, more on the 5 carbohydrate per patty side. Gram for gram, it's not as nutritious as the veggie burger, but you're not eating it for that. You're not eating it all the time. You want to get a little zaza zoom and a little differentiation from your normal intake. And that's about it. Salt, NaCl. So those plant-based burgers for one patty have from 350 milligrams per patty up to over 500 milligrams. So if that's a consideration for you, just know that. Okay, veggie burgers. So obviously they have more whole food veggies and they're a little more nutritious, but you know what? As I say that, I'm just reporting and just reminding you what's there. We're not probably going to eat these things for to derive our nutrition of my raw food and my vegetables that day out of this burger. Okay. Of course your carbohydrates are going to go up for the veggie burger and your protein's going to be down characteristically. Okay, you still can be in that sweet spot where the carbs are not too high, and you know, if the protein's not as high as you wanted in certain products, maybe you're having it because it tastes good. Maybe you're using it as a small plate with some arugula and some non-dairy or drizzled goat cheese on it as that burger is hot, and then you have some kind of, you know, very nice sauce. I mean, that's a small plate. That's a beautiful little meal. So depends on, it can be very useful, and it depends on how obviously you want to use these, but I think they make a great addition. So keep them in the freezer, buy them. And I will say one last thing. My favorite was, and I'm going to give a shout out to a company, was Dr. Prager's. He had over 10 different types of burgers. He had my favorite, bean and tofu, I had said was going to be in the vegetable category. And a word about that. Some people, tofu, synonymous with soy, wouldn't even touch it. So if soy is an issue, that's not something you're going to do. But a lot of you that are savvy with carbohydrates go, oh, soy, oh, high in protein, low in carbohydrates. That is very true. But remember, it's a processed food. So even in the soy, the burgers picked up a few points. They were 5, 6, 7 carbohydrates, so they could make it taste good. And it was high in protein. So kudos to that too. I mean, the products are just getting better and better, like I said. And the bean burger turned out to be my favorite. I found one 10 grams of protein, 11 grams of carbohydrate, and lots of fiber in it. That was beautiful. And I didn't expect to find that. So because before, you know, I'm always looking at labels, as you can well imagine, turn that over. And the bean burgers were just outrageous with the carbohydrates. But, and I believe that was a Dr. Prager product as well. So just a little report on something that might float your boat and make your intake, your nutritional intake, to strive for metabolic optimization just a bit better. All right. So remember, better outcomes from better intakes.